There comes a point in every man's life when he realizes that love doesn't break you all at once. It breaks you quietly, through doubts you ignore, through effort that isn't returned, through the slow fading of the man you used to be before you started loving the wrong person. And most of us don't notice it happening. We call it patience, we call it loyalty, we call it trying our best. But deep down, our hearts know the truth. We're fighting for someone who wouldn't lift a finger for us. If you've ever felt drained in a relationship, ever felt like you were shrinking just to make things work, ever wondered why love feels heavier than it should, this is for you. Today, we're going to uncover the subtle signs. The ones men overlook, the ones that save years of pain. That reveal when you're loving the wrong person. Welcome to the Stoic Love Wisdom channel. This is where we share lessons about love, real-life experiences and tips for building strong relationships. In today's video, I will share with you 7 signs you are in love with the wrong person. These may be things you have never thought of. If you are looking for a deeper understanding of love and how to develop relationships, don't miss this video. Before watching the video, find a quiet space and put on your headphones to feel every word I am about to share. Relax and enjoy this journey with me. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's begin. Sign number 1. You always feel anxious, afraid of losing them. There is a certain kind of love that feels less like warmth and more like tension, quiet, relentless, exhausting. It's the kind of love where your stomach tightens every time your phone vibrates, where silence feels like punishment, and where you're constantly afraid that one wrong move will make them disappear. If you ever find yourself living in this emotional battlefield, let me tell you something as a man who has lived long enough to understand the patterns of the human heart: you're not in love, you're in survival mode. A healthy love brings calm. The wrong love brings chaos. And the clearest sign you're with the wrong person is when your heart never truly rests. I've known that feeling, the kind that makes you check your messages twice, the kind that makes you replay conversations, the kind that makes you question your worth because their attention comes like rain in a desert, rare, unpredictable, and never enough. Let me speak plainly. When someone is right for you, you won't fear losing them every day. Because people who choose you will show it consistently. People who value you don't make you compete with your own insecurities. But when you're with the wrong person, anxiety becomes your shadow. You're always guessing what they feel. Always hoping they won't pull away. Always adjusting yourself so they won't leave. This fear isn't love. It's emotional imbalance. It's your intuition whispering that something is off. When a woman truly cares for you, her presence calms your mind. Her actions reassure you without her even trying. She communicates. She shows up. She considers your feelings. Even her silence feels gentle. Not threatening. But the wrong person. Their silence feels like a warning. Their affection feels inconsistent. Their emotional availability comes in waves, heavy one moment, gone the next. You begin to think the problem is you. You try harder. You shrink your needs. You silence your frustration. You tolerate things that betray your self-respect. And you call it love. But it's not. It's attachment rooted in fear. Stoic love teaches us something powerful. A man must never trade his inner peace for companionship. The moment you lose your peace, you lose yourself. And no relationship, no matter how beautiful it looks from the outside, is worth losing yourself over. Here is the truth a younger version of myself refused to accept. If loving someone feels like walking on thin ice every day, it's not because you're too sensitive. It's because you're with someone who makes you unstable. The right person inspires confidence. The wrong person triggers insecurity. And your anxiety is not overreaction, it's revelation. When your heart is constantly afraid, it's not love trying to stay. It's your intuition trying to escape. Sign number 2, you can't be your true self around them. There's a particular kind of loneliness that hits harder than being alone. It's the loneliness you feel when you're sitting right next to someone you care about, yet you cannot be yourself. When you're with the wrong person, you start performing. You measure your words. You adjust your reactions. You hide parts of yourself like they're flaws instead of truths. You become a carefully edited version of who you really are, sanitized, muted, restrained. And here is what I've learned, after years of watching relationships rise and fall. If you can't be yourself around someone, you're not loved, you're tolerated. A man who cannot express his thoughts honestly becomes quiet. A man who cannot show his emotions calmly becomes hardened. A man who cannot reveal his fears becomes isolated in his own mind. You start laughing at things that aren't funny, just to keep the peace. You pretend you're okay when you're not, just to avoid being judged. You shrink your dreams because they don't align with their expectations. You apologize for things you didn't even do wrong, just to prevent another argument. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. And it is one of the most painful kinds of betrayal. Because you are the one betraying yourself. A woman who is right for you will never make you feel like you have to put on a mask. She won't make you second-guess your tone, your opinions, or your personality. She won't mock your interests or minimize your emotions. She won't make you feel too much or not enough. The right woman makes you feel understood, even when you're not perfect. She listens without judgment. She makes space for your voice. She allows you to express vulnerability without fear of ridicule. You feel safe being yourself, not because she's flawless, but because she's genuine. But the wrong woman. She makes you feel like your natural self is inconvenient. She criticizes your quirks instead of embracing them. She turns your weaknesses into ammunition. She makes you feel like the real you isn't worthy of love. Over time, this changes you. You stop speaking up. You lose your spark. You lose your edge. You lose your authenticity. And worst of all, you lose the relationship with yourself. Stoic love teaches us that a man must guard his soul with discipline. A man who abandons himself to keep someone else will eventually lose both. Remember this truth. You deserve someone who loves the way you think, the way you feel, the way you speak, the way you dream. Someone who brings out the truth in you, not the performance. Because the moment you must pretend to be loved. You're no longer in a relationship. You're in a prison without bars. And a man who cannot be himself is a man already walking away. Love, like a mirror that reflects ourselves. When you learn to love, you are also learning to look back at yourself. What are your strengths? What are the wounds that need to be healed? And understanding yourself will help you understand the other person more deeply. That is also the reason I share on this channel, to help you see love as a journey to nurture your soul. If you find these things meaningful, click like to spread that value. And if this is your first time coming to the channel, don't forget to click subscribe with the notification bell, so we can always accompany each other in the next lessons. Leave a comment below, share your true feelings after listening to this part. Who knows, your little story may touch the heart of someone in need. Now, let's continue on the next part of this journey. Sign number 3, everything feels one-sided, you give, they take. One of the harshest truths a man must learn, usually the hard way, is that love cannot survive when only one person is carrying the weight. But when you're with the wrong person, the relationship slowly becomes a lopsided equation. You give and they take, you pour and they consume, you invest and they simply show up. At first, you don't notice it. Because giving feels natural to a man who loves deeply. You plan the dates. You initiate the conversations. You fix the problems. You apologize first. You make sacrifices without being asked. And for a while, that feels okay. You tell yourself it's normal. You convince yourself you're being a good man. You keep hoping that one day, they will match your effort. But that day never comes. The wrong person becomes comfortable with your responsibility. They expect your generosity. They treat your effort like it is their right. And eventually, you wake up one morning realizing you're the only one holding the relationship together. Here's the truth. Love is not measured by how much you give. Love is revealed by how much the other person gives back. When you're with the wrong person, you begin to feel a quiet exhaustion. Not physical, but emotional. A slow draining of your energy, your patience, your self-worth. You start noticing small things. They don't check on you. They don't remember what matters to you. They disappear when you need support. They only show affection when it benefits them. You become the provider of stability, affection, reassurance, solutions, and in return, you receive crumbs of attention dressed up as love. A healthy relationship is a dance of reciprocity. Not 50-50 every day, but mutual. Balanced. Honest. But with the wrong person, everything becomes transactional. They give just enough to keep you hooked, never enough to keep you fulfilled. And you? Because you believe in loyalty, in consistency, in trying your best, stay longer than you should. That is the curse of good men. We endure what we should have walked away from. Stoic wisdom teaches us something essential. A man must never confuse effort with value. Just because you are willing to give everything does not mean the relationship is worth everything. When you find yourself carrying the emotional load alone, understand this. You're not in a partnership. You're in an emotional contract where you pay the price and they enjoy the benefits. The right person meets you halfway. The wrong person watches you walk the whole distance and still asks why you're tired. If you ever feel like you're the only one trying, you're not in love with a person. You're in love with your own hope. And hope, without reciprocity, becomes self-destruction. Sign number 4, they don't prioritize you, you're an option, not a choice. One of the clearest signs you're loving the wrong person is also one of the most painful. You always feel like you're last on their list. Not because you're unworthy, not because you're doing something wrong, but because they simply don't value the connection the way you do. When you're with the wrong person, their patterns tell the truth their words try to hide. They're too busy. They forgot. They cancel plans. They leave your messages unanswered for hours or days. They show up when it's convenient and disappear when you need them most. And every time they pull away, you find yourself making excuses for them. They're stressed. They're tired. They didn't mean it. They'll make it up next time. But next time never comes. A person who truly cares makes time. Not excuses. Not promises. Time. Because time is the real currency of love, and where someone spends it reveals where their heart lives. You see, a woman who is wrong for you treats your presence like a backup plan. She gives you attention only when she's bored, lonely, or wants something. She prioritizes strangers on her phone over the man sitting right in front of her. She invests more effort into her social media than into your connection. She values the idea of being wanted more than actually valuing the person who wants her. But a man in love often ignores these signs. Why? Because he loves from the heart, not the ego. He gives people the benefit of the doubt. He assumes good intentions. He keeps trying, hoping they will one day see his worth. Here's the hard truth. If you constantly feel like you're asking for the bare minimum, you're not asking for too much, you're asking the wrong person. The right person doesn't make you fight for a place in their life. They don't make you beg for attention. They don't treat your time as disposable. In fact, they protect your presence because they know how rare a loyal, devoted man truly is. When someone values you, you feel it in the consistency of their effort. in the steadiness of their actions, in the small ways they show up without being asked. But when someone doesn't value you, they send you mixed signals. Hot and cold. In and out. Close today, distant tomorrow. Leaving you confused, anxious, and questioning your worth. Stoic love teaches us. A man must not chase where he is not chosen. A man must not pour himself into someone who cannot even meet him halfway. A man must understand that indifference is an answer, one that arrives far sooner than words. Remember this. A person who truly wants you will make room for you. And a person who doesn't will always be too busy. The right person prioritizes you. The wrong person only uses you to fill empty moments. Choose wisely. Your time is sacred. Sign number 5. You feel more drained than happy, love becomes exhaustion. There is a kind of love that lifts you. And there is a kind of love that slowly empties you, piece by piece, until one day you wake up and realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. When you're with the wrong person, the relationship stops being a source of peace and becomes a constant drain on your emotional energy. You don't look forward to seeing them, you prepare for it. You don't feel relaxed in their presence. You feel tense. You don't feel supported, you feel responsible for holding everything together. A healthy love recharges you. But the wrong love? It burns you out. You know it's the wrong person when you feel tired after every conversation. Simple discussions turn into arguments. You feel misunderstood more often than heard. Your happiness becomes unpredictable, depending on their mood. You catch yourself worrying more than smiling. Here is the truth too many men try to ignore. Love is not supposed to feel like emotional labor. When you're with someone who is wrong for you, even the small things become heavy. You start walking on emotional eggshells. You choose your words carefully, not to express truth, but to avoid conflict. You sacrifice your peace just to maintain a fragile harmony. And what's worse? You begin to blame yourself for feeling drained. You tell yourself you're too sensitive. You tell yourself you need to try harder. You tolerate behavior that chips away at your self-worth because you desperately want the relationship to work. But exhaustion is not a sign of love, it's a sign of misalignment. When you love the right person, there is a natural ease between you. You don't feel judged for your flaws. You don't feel punished for being human. You don't feel scared to speak your truth. Their presence calms your nervous system instead of activating your anxieties. But with the wrong person, stress becomes your normal. Your mind becomes crowded. Your emotions become unstable. Your life becomes heavier than it needs to be. Stoic wisdom teaches something essential. A man must protect his inner peace more fiercely than his desires. If a relationship costs you your stability, it's too expensive, no matter how beautiful it looks, no matter how deeply you care. Remember this. You were not born to carry a relationship on your back. You were not meant to feel exhausted in the presence of someone who claims to love you. And you are certainly not obligated to stay in a connection that drains the life out of you. Love should give you strength, not steal it. The right person becomes a refuge. The wrong person becomes a storm. And if you feel more tired than happy, you already know which one you're standing in. There are things in love, only when we take a step back, sit down quietly, can we truly understand. I share these stories not to teach you how to love, but so that you can find the answers for yourself. If what you just heard touches your heart, please click like as a way to spread this positive energy to more people. And remember to click subscribe, because there are many profound perspectives on love waiting for you in the next videos. Now, let's continue the remaining journey together, because the most precious things are sometimes at the end. Sign number 6, they don't respect your boundaries, feelings, or values. One of the clearest signs you're loving the wrong person isn't found in dramatic arguments or big betrayals. It's found in the quiet, consistent ways they disregard your boundaries, dismiss your feelings, and belittle the values that make you who you are. When you're with the wrong person, you start to notice that your no doesn't mean anything. Your discomfort gets ignored. Your needs are labeled as too much. And your feelings become something you must defend rather than something they try to understand. They cross lines, not because they're cruel, but because they don't see those lines as worth honoring. At first, it may seem small. They joke about things you take seriously. They interrupt when you express a thought. They pressure you into doing things you aren't comfortable with. They dismiss your concerns with phrases like, "Relax. You're overthinking. It's not a big deal." But over time, these small dismissals become emotional erosion. The things that matter to you start to feel insignificant. Your voice becomes quieter. Your confidence shrinks. Your values feel negotiable. Here is the truth. Respect is the foundation of love. Without it, affection becomes manipulation, and passion becomes instability. The wrong person tries to reshape you into what they want. The right person accepts who you already are. A woman who is wrong for you will make you feel guilty for having boundaries. She'll test your limits just to see how much she can get away with. She'll twist your feelings into weaknesses instead of treating them as truths. She'll expect you to tolerate disrespect because she knows you care. And you, out of loyalty, hope, or fear of losing her, end up agreeing to things that betray your own standards. You compromise too much. You forgive too fast. You bend until you nearly break. Stoic love teaches us this. A man who abandons his boundaries loses his identity. And a man who loses his identity cannot lead his life with clarity or strength. Your boundaries are not walls. They are doors, doors that protect your inner world from chaos. Your values are not negotiable suggestions. They are the compass that guides your life. Your feelings are not burdens. They are signals, telling you what aligns with your soul and what violates it. The right woman will respect all of these. She won't mock your priorities. She won't trivialize your emotions. She won't push you to compromise your integrity. Instead, she will honor the man you are and encourage you to become even better. But the wrong woman? She tries to stretch your boundaries until they snap. And let me tell you something learned from years of hard lessons. Any love that requires you to betray yourself is the wrong love. A man's duty is not to tolerate disrespect for the sake of connection, but to walk away with dignity when the connection disrespects who he is. Sign number 7, you don't see a future together, or you're the only one who does. There is a moment in every man's life when he looks at the person he's with and quietly asks himself, can I truly build a future with this person? When you're with the wrong one, the answer may not come in words, it comes in a feeling. A heaviness. A doubt. An emptiness that lingers even when things seem fine on the surface. The wrong person makes the future feel blurry. Not because the future is unpredictable, but because the connection lacks the solidity needed to build anything real on top of it. You find yourself hesitating. You can't imagine long-term peace with them. Every plan feels uncertain or forced. And deep down, you know that building a future together would require sacrificing too much of yourself. But sometimes, the signs are even clearer. You're the only one imagining the future. You talk about goals, they change the subject. You hint about commitment, they become distant. You try to plan ahead, they resist. They keep their options open, just in case. They avoid defining the relationship because clarity would require responsibility. A person who is wrong for you keeps you in the present because they have no intention of bringing you into their future. They enjoy the moments that benefit them, but they avoid the conversations that require depth, effort, or maturity. And yet, men like us, we hold on. Not out of weakness, but out of loyalty. We believe that effort can fix anything. We think patience will change them. We convince ourselves that they're just not ready yet. But readiness is not about timing. Readiness is about willingness. If someone truly sees you as part of their future, they won't hesitate. They won't avoid the conversation. They won't keep you in emotional limbo. They'll make space for you in their plans because love makes clarity feel natural, not pressured. Stoic wisdom teaches a simple truth. A man must not build castles on unstable ground. You cannot create a peaceful future with someone who brings chaos into your present. You cannot plan a life with someone who does not value stability. You cannot secure happiness with someone who doesn't show signs of wanting to grow with you. A shared future is not promised through words. It's revealed through behavior. The right person will talk about we, not just me. They will consider your feelings when making decisions. They will include you in their dreams, not exclude you from their plans. They will walk with you, not ahead of you. But the wrong person? They keep you close enough to use your love, but far enough to avoid commitment. And here's the truth born from experience. If you're the only one imagining the future, then there is no future. Only wishful thinking. A man must recognize when he is holding on to potential instead of reality. Because the future is built by two, not one. Conclusion. In the end, the truth about loving the wrong person is never loud. It doesn't arrive in a single moment of clarity. It appears slowly, through patterns, through exhaustion, through the quiet voice inside you that keeps whispering, something isn't right. The 7 signs aren't meant to judge anyone, they're meant to awaken you. Because a man's life is shaped just as much by the relationships he chooses as by the ones he walks away from. Being with the wrong person doesn't make you weak. Staying with them after seeing the truth, that's where the real danger lies. When a relationship fills you with anxiety instead of peace, when you must hide your true self just to be accepted, when you carry all the weight alone, when you're not prioritized, respected, understood, or included in someone's future. That isn't love. That is attachment disguised as hope. A Stoic man learns that protecting his peace is not selfish, it is necessary. Because from peace comes clarity. From clarity comes strength. And from strength comes the courage to choose better. You were not born to beg for attention. You were not made to feel small in someone else's world. You were not meant to lose yourself trying to keep someone who was never willing to stay. Remember this. The right person will feel different, not perfect, but peaceful. Your heart will rest. Your mind will breathe. Your future will feel possible. And when love is right, you won't have to fight for your place in someone's life. You will simply belong. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. I hope you have found useful lessons about love and relationships. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I really appreciate your support and will continue to bring valuable content in the next videos. Please continue to accompany me on my journey to learn about love and relationships. See you again and wish you happiness.